Hello and welcome. Good morning. Hope everybody is safe and healthy, and I hope your loved ones are too. If you have questions, start putting them in the chat. We'll see if anybody else shows up here. Hello and welcome if you're just showing up. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll be glad to answer questions about the reading or about the logistics and how the course is run. And I'll stick around here for a few more minutes. We'll wait and see if anybody starts posting questions or if anybody else shows up. Otherwise, this only needs to be as long as it needs to be. So we'll just wait a minute here. Hello and welcome. If you are just arriving, please feel free to start putting your questions in the chat if you have them, either content-based questions about the reading or any sort of logistical questions about how the course is being run. Just listening to my Pearl Jam in the background here, waiting to see if anybody else shows up or if the questions start showing up. Hello and welcome if you just arrived. I'm just waiting to see if there are any questions today. So if you have those questions, please start posting them in the chat. If there are no questions, then this is going to be a really short live stream. I guess as long as I have two of you here, I will at least remind you that the first assessment is going to be posted tomorrow. Thursday. And yeah, you'll have 3 days to finish that. So that is coming up here. Hello and welcome. We got a few people in the room, but no questions so far. If you have questions, please put them in that chat. Or you can always email me. I do have my email open here in another tab. If you're a little shy about the live chat, you can always ask me questions by email and I will keep that anonymous. I understand that it might be a little stressful for some people asking questions in such a public way. I'll wait a few more minutes here, see if anybody's going to ask any questions. Otherwise, usually if there are no questions by about quarter after, that's usually when I call it. So I like to wait until at least 5 after to really get going, just in case some people are running a little late. But just want to make sure that anybody who has questions and who wants them answered via the live stream has that opportunity. Okay. All right. We have a question. All right. So this is a question from She. How could we connect the idea of autonomous systems with the readings we did last week? Yeah, you're suggesting or asking, is it about control? That's definitely one way that we can make that connection there. In many ways, the Zazen reading gives us a theory of control, a theory of power, where it's about self restraint, not trying to control the world. Obviously, autonomous systems are the exact opposite of that. Autonomous systems are all about exacting control over a situation using technology to control machines, and then in turn using those machines to control a specific situation. We might also think about the potential that autonomous systems have either to facilitate or to undermine authentic being towards death. So bringing it back to the Heidegger and the theory of technology, remember that the danger of the Gestell is that everything is just viewed as a resource, including people. So the danger of this is that a lot of people have concern about human jobs being replaced by autonomous systems. But I think there's really two sides of this. On the one hand, we might say that further automation of dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs is only going to allow people further opportunities to choose the meaning for their own lives. Or the real problem with the attitude is that even people are viewed only as good as a resource for the purpose of making money. So, of course, if machines can outperform humans at specific jobs, then that means that people's value might be diminished, right? If your only value is insofar as you can make profit for somebody within a market of exchange, well, if a machine can do your job better than you, then that's just going to further diminish the meaning of lives of people. Yeah, so applying the Heidegger, we might think about how autonomous systems fit into this idea of Gestell and in framing, and how that might either facilitate or inhibit authentic being towards death, or we might apply the Zazen. In many ways, technology in general, when we're talking about communications technology or weapons systems, right? When we're using that more specific definition of technology, technology is the exact opposite of a Buddhist approach to the world. Buddhism is all about sort of going with the flow, being adaptive. You are waves on water. So you should be flexible and adaptable to the situation. In some ways, we might see autonomous systems as a manifestation of that, but we can also see how autonomous systems are an attempt to control a situation actively. Yeah, I think that's a real good point. She's saying if machines start replacing people in some jobs, then maybe they can create new jobs as well. That's absolutely true. Just because some jobs have become automated and some jobs that used to be done by humans are now done by machines, that doesn't necessarily mean that all the jobs for humans are going to go away. Even looking at the Hellier article as an example, what he's looking at primarily in terms of advancing the use of automated systems in the Australian military is he's looking at those semi-automated systems that do still require some sort of human interaction. And also, like, even if a system, a robot, a machine is fully autonomous, well, you're still going to need engineers to design and create these machines, but also machines need maintenance. However, one conception of, oh, and I'm totally having a brain fart here now. Um, it's a goal within the context of AI. I'm totally having a brain fart. Maybe if you know this concept that I'm thinking of, you can drop it in the chat. But one of the goals is of AI for some people, singularity. That's the word. So singularity is a concept in AI, and there are two different ways that singularity can be cashed out. One form of singularity would be to create an AI where human consciousness could be transferred to the AI. A more modest conception of singularity that's relevant here is going to be the creation of an autonomous system that can repair and create itself. So I guess if we got to that point of singularity where machines no longer required people to make more machines or to design machines, that might be a significant enough shift that maybe there is real concern about not being jobs for people. But on the flip side, going back to the positive opportunity for authentic being towards death, right? Like we shouldn't just think of our lives as having meaning in terms of whatever job we can perform, whatever sort of goals we can achieve for the purpose of somebody else's profit. Right. So just because there's going to be perhaps fewer opportunities for human labor doesn't necessarily mean that there's fewer opportunities for humans to create meaning for their lives. If anything, we might think about how a culture would look if there were fewer people working, fewer human jobs, and how that might actually allow us to understand the meaning of our lives in a way that is not tied to our jobs, our income, or however we contribute profit to this in this market of exchange. Yeah, okay. Yeah, another comment from She. I think this is a great point. I don't mind if machines have more roles in humans' lives, but I'm uncomfortable with the idea of unmanned weapons. It's just machines more efficient with killing. Yeah, and Marcus Hellier is primarily concerned with weapons technology. Um, So, especially when we're talking about drones or when we're talking about aircraft that are equipped either with bombs or with guns, yeah, these are machines that are literally designed to kill people efficiently. I do eventually want to be diving into some applied ethical questions about the moral responsibility tied with these automated weapon systems. Right? It's one thing perhaps when you have somebody who is remotely operating a drone or a weapon system. But even then, there might be lags, there might be technological problems that might inhibit that person's ability to perfectly control that machine, such that if there's an accidental death, if there's collateral damage, it really blurs these questions about moral responsibility. Now, if we have an entirely autonomous machine that is killing people, who's responsible for those deaths? Even deaths that are intentional, we still want to talk about who's to blame, who's responsible, even if it's a praiseworthy killing, right? Is the person who designed that machine responsible for that death? Or are we going to attribute morality and responsibility to machines? One of the things that Hellier points out in his second article, I think it's in the second article, he mentions that we are more likely to forgive the mistakes of people than we are to forgive the mistakes of machines. So we expect machines to operate 100% correctly. When they don't, this frustrates us. With people, we're a little more willing to understand, oh, you had a bad day, you made a mistake, you just weren't thinking, whatever. But yeah, if these machines are specifically designed for efficient killing, maybe even mass killing, um, I think there's a lot of applied ethical issues here. Who's responsible for that mass killing? Or even we might think about existing forms of technology that are not automated, even. We might think about the atom bomb. Are we going to blame Einstein for the deaths of all of the civilians in Nagasaki? Are we going to blame Einstein for the deaths in Hiroshima? So, yeah, there's a lot of applied ethical issues here, and we will be digging into them. I want to get at least the next reading on the table, just because I do want to give a balanced perspective. So I want to see the sort of like pro side of things. And then the next article for Thursday, we'll be looking at the sort of boogeyman that people are turning these automated systems into. Next week, we'll be looking at more critical side of automated weapon systems. Yeah, it's now possible to control machines that killed people on the other side of the earth, right? We blame the people who control the machines, but it's certainly an issue with moral responsibility. Yeah, good points, She. And we will be getting into that. I just want to get these. I want to have a somewhat balanced perspective before we start diving into these issues ourselves in the online forums. But especially in the forums, I'm going to be posting some questions about the applied ethics of autonomous weapons, especially. There are a lot of applied issues, and specifically with issues of moral responsibility. Absolutely. Yeah, it seems I definitely share this intuition that there's something unsettling about a machine that is specifically designed to kill people. Now, this isn't the only kind of automated system that Hellier is talking about being used in the military, right? He uses that example of, I think it's the REMIS. I think that's the acronym for this ordnance location and removal automated system. So you do still need people to operate these systems, but the idea is that it's a lot less dangerous for a machine to find a mine and dispose of it than to have people finding mines and disposing of them. So this is really we might say a nonviolent use of automated systems within the context of the military. So we're going to have automated systems that are purely offensive. We're going to have defensive systems, and then we're going to have some sort of combination. So at least the defensive systems, and I would loop that REMIS in there, this ordnance location and removal automated system. That would be much more of a defensive approach to this technology. And Hellier talks about a sort of wide variety of those. Yeah. She says, I don't have any more questions left. The readings for today, pretty clear and straightforward. Yeah. I was hoping that students would find these readings pretty straightforward. A change of pace from Zazen philosophy and Heidegger philosophy, Heideggerian philosophy. Even though we didn't read Heidegger, that reading about Heidegger still might have been a little confusing. So yeah, I'll wait another minute or two, see if there are any more questions. Otherwise, if this is a nice, short and sweet live stream, then that's all it needs to be. So thanks for the questions and comments, She. Thanks for the opportunity for a good discussion. I hope that your colleagues who are either catching this live or who are watching it back afterwards find this useful. So if there are no more questions, I'm just going to wait another minute, I think, and then I'm going to call it. Okay, folks, unless any questions pop up last minute here, I am going to call it. I hope everybody is safe and healthy, and I hope your loved ones are too. I will still have the afternoon live stream. We'll see if there are any further questions there. Otherwise, I hope everybody is safe and healthy. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye. Be safe, everyone.